Hey everyone, it's Timid Falconer back with more Road to 1K. Today's episode is going to be this 16-day match on the Doom of Valhalla, Tier 4 Standard obviously, versus POW. And yeah, this is going to be, I'm going to be pretty brief in the preamble because I've covered the Doom a billion times before. I'm mainly covering this match specifically because it's tier 4 and I haven't really done, well, I might have done it a little bit, but I haven't actually done an adder on the Doom before. I'm pretty sure I've done it. But anyways, this is the Doom. You have a pretty spread out map with 3 bases, one airport, relatively standard as far as like production distribution goes. It's 2 comm tower as well, which makes it so that well, it's a pretty big buff to units to COs like adder and well, adder specifically because that gives him enough firepower to wall break on cities. As you can see here, Jake's down at 44, Jess is down at 40, and Cole of all fucking COs is at 55. Like, honestly, like, I was considering, well, I can't do much, but if I had to, well, actually, the Doom isn't that bad. But like, there are so many roads on this map that Cole is actually really viable. I didn't pick Cole this time though, I picked adder, so that's gonna be the basics of this match. It's gonna be hopefully a relatively, well, this will be a pretty short video actually. So, yep, that looks good. So, starting off here with infantry, just very basic infantry moves. You have the black boats in the center cons here, but you move like a tile maybe to get better infantry move. Like, I don't even know why he did that. He should have just sent it north, but whatever. It literally does not matter. So another thing that I see often on this map is you got this city that's in a weird spot, you got this airport that's in a weird spot. Like, these properties don't really chain well together. Whereas if you get your infantry over into these areas over here, they do chain a little bit better, as well as like you could change it from this city to either this city or the comm tower even. So, but these properties over here are a lot easier to get to as well. So it's generally better, it's generally a good form to pick these up pretty early on, and then just start sending your infantry over this way. Remember, we're going to be covered by stuff like this recon here, so. And there, honestly, I'm not exactly sure why I didn't just go for the tank there. I think the tank would have been a much better play right there, because I can afford to chain next turn anyways, because I have enough income built up for it. Maybe it's because oh, you know why? Because recons are actually pretty good on this side, because you can just send them straight through here. They can harass infantry if they try to cap the comm tower, and it takes a while for the tanks to get all the way around here. So that's why I go for recon. This is a pretty good recon build actually. On the Doom specifically, this is a very decent recon build. It's like not necessarily the best thing in the world, but like as you can see here, I'm going for a more central tank here. Trying to push. Well, it's going to be depending on where he goes with this guy. Because what he could do is just send it straight this way. That's sort of what I'm trying to avoid with the tank. I'm trying to force him to go around here with this tank. like that. He's going for a tank on the right side now. So honestly, the tank here, I don't know how good of a play that is. I'd say it's fine. Here I'm not even coming to the left side with the recon. I'm sort of going Iber way, and I'm covering with the tank as well, obviously. But if I want to, I can push this on, and I can push this in and interrupt if he goes for time tower. I could push in and interrupt if he goes for this guy. I could help out against this infantry as well. So that's the main reasons why I'm going for. So that I get 2 tanks as well this time because I have the Inca for it. So he decides to attack out of this cap, which it's fine. So like he sort of needs to reinforce the center a little bit, which he's not doing. He's coming to the left here, and he's sort of spreading out his tanks a bit so that they aren't really covering each other. And that's a big mistake here that he's making. He's going for the T-copter pretty early as well. On this map, you can afford to like wait on the T-copter, but you also sort of like want to basically when your opponent pops their T-copter, you definitely are more or less forced to do that match as well. You're basically forced to match for T-copter just so that you don't fall behind in well, both firepower from the comm tower on this island, but also the extra income from the harbor. The production from the harbor doesn't really matter at all. And then attacking from the city with this recon here makes it very difficult for it to do anything with this thing. Because I should be. I don't think I moved that too far. Oh, actually, I moved it a little bit closer even. So he can't really move in against my tank at all. Because I'm covering with both of these 2 tanks. That's the issue with how he's spreading out his tanks. Because we're not covering each other at all. If he had been setting them in a chain this way, I would have a bit of a harder time dealing with it. But as is, I've got like a tank chain going over here. I've got 3 tanks in the area over here as well. So, as you can see, my opponent can't really afford me or anything. So he goes for the shot into the recon actually from the city, which is actually not that bad. The only issue is like he can't chain with this tank next time. So I'm free to move in with my tank and get a first strike off of him. So I take out my infantry here. Which, in hindsight, I don't think I should have interrupted the cap. It was kind of wasting infantry. So we've got this guy set up to start capping on the island next turn. I'm working on capping this stuff over here. And as you can see, I've already got 18k incoming, very far ahead of the incoming. He's going to pick up this guy, but I have been slowing it down quite significantly, especially in this area. Well, the center too. Like, for whatever reason, I'm actually starting to do a capture. And I should have a tank to cover this guy. Yeah, I got this guy here to cover this guy. And he's doing double duty here on this front because he's able to push here, but he's also able to swing back to cover this city if he decides to like that. So yeah, and I have the tank chain going on over here as well. And as you can see, you've got a second tank here, but they're not chained together, so they're not exactly very friendly. We sort of want to have them covering each other so that they can actually pose more of a threat. Because if you get a first strike off on a tank, that's like, you basically won if it's just that one tank. But if you have a second tank and you behind it, you can start like chaining them, and it's a little bit less of an obvious win with this, with like it's just a simple game like this. He's continuing to fire there, which is a bad move, honestly. Like, he's got the city here, and he's got this guy, so he's can chain into this city now. which is like decent, but the issue is, and he's finally training with these tanks as well, which is good for him, but like, at this point I've already got too much in the area for him to deal with. So, I interrupt with the recon suicide over there. Honestly, all things considered, the recon didn't do that much damage, but it interrupted a cap there. I think it actually cleared a cap. And then it interrupted that cap. So I think that by itself makes it worth it, as far as income goes. And then I start capping here as well. So I'm sort of forcing him to move in with his tanks to attack the infantry in the city a little bit. He wants to get that engagement off. He could also to take out this guy, but he would be throwing away his tank. And he'd be starting a chain into my cap city here, which is never a good idea. I go for a battlecopter, and I got a transport ready to start carrying this guy over to here. I have one comm tower. He's not going to be able to get this comm tower. Well, you can chain a little bit. And he has enough tanks in the area where it might be nice. Like he's able to just move in like that. He's only using tanks to deal with. He's using the tanks to deal with the infantry though, which is a little bit weird. But I do have 2 tanks on the city, so I can see why he would hesitate to attack into them. He just gave me enough power with that engagement to pop my, enough meter to pop my power with that engagement, so I can just follow back with him as such. And I can just move, now I'm going to be able, if I pop my power next, I'm going to be able to move on to the attack on the mountain to finish off that fall, if I want to. Well, I say that, but he moves on to it. He's smart and moves on to that. Not to look for his infantry to block. So I forget. Oh, I just popped my power like certainly. I cap him when I pop my power. I believe it's mainly because I didn't really see that many good engagements without the power, so I just go with this. I'm able to move in like that, finish off his tank there, cap there, finish off of that, and then start capping with the infantry here as well. Which is a bit of a rude play there. Start capping this city as well. Get a shot off on the infantry. And I'm basically doing that to block his tanks a little bit. So that he has to like overextend a little bit with them. And like this is all he has in this area. He's got the battlecopter and he's 2 tanks here. So once I deal with that, I basically have free reign to control this area. And as you can see here, I'm already like 4k ahead in income. I grabbed this area. I'm being relatively aggressive over here, but I can't really push any further than I already have over here. I go for the anti-air here as well, which honestly is a little bit of a weird move if I don't follow up with. I go for a second now. Okay, I'm training a little bit. So he's got to send something to deal with the battlecopter, so I'm assuming he's going to send the battlecopter to the east here, to the northeast, instead of backing up his tanks. But even if he doesn't, I'm still fine. So I have enough time to, pivot my units over here to deal with it. He actually doesn't even bother to try and interrupt this cap, so I'm going to take this for sure next time. And he goes for the anti-air here to deal with my battlecopters. I do get a good amount of pushing in over here. Like he is a bit late with the anti-air. I'm able to just move it with the battlecopter right now, and then if I want to, I can just walk back over here. So he's not going to be able to do much with his anti-air here. If he had built it like a turn or so earlier, he'd be coming up here. And he would be in a much better spot because he has like a good amount of tanks in the area. But because it's a bit late for that, it's like not the best. Oh, also the mech here it's fine. He's got a good amount of infantry in the area, so that does hurt the mech a little bit, but I am able to cover not only just my tank here, but also the battlecopter with any anti-air with the mech here. So it's a pretty cost-effective alternative to sending tanks all the way around. It gets there a little bit faster. Surprisingly, like mechs aren't the worst for space. So I finish off his tanks there. Then I start pushing in against this infantry. This cap is not going to happen. We'll see. It might. So I get a little bit of a boost there. The infantry get an anti-air. So I'm pivoting this towards the center, this towards this lane in the west, and then I got the battlecopter to deal with the battlecopter as well. I'm trying to zoom it out a little bit. And I go for the second mech as well. We're sort of split up, so I don't know how effective they're going to be. They're going to be sort of effective. Well, actually, you know why I built this? It's so that I can enter power into the mountains with them. So, takes out my tank there. Actually, is going to take this city from me. Pretty sure. Not that it matters because I'm ahead of like 7 property than income. But goes for that engagement as well, which isn't like bad, but it's giving me like an incentive to join gap there. Even, like, I don't think it's really what he wants. He goes for a medium tank finally as well. So go for the side step. Attack on the mountain there. And then like that. And then I've got 2 mechs here if he decides to beat. He wants to go for the battlecopter with the anti-air. I air at that cap as well, actually, so he's not going to end up getting it after all, which is irritating. He's desperately trying to grab this city as well, then, and this is going to happen. I mean, the compounds of the city. And then I fall back a little bit with my tanks here, so that we're entering into my anti-air, which is zoning out this entire area. Even though it's got like the side tip active, it can still like, cover the important things over here. So it kicks me off of that city, and it wipes up some of my infantry. Where's his medium check? He move it. It will see at the end. This started next time. So he takes out my battlecopter and the mech there, the weakened mech, but he's not going to be able to do much to this guy. And I am going to be able to just move in with like the battlecopter. He is going to be able to get this property though, probably. So, good moves by him. Here I pivot this guy across the mountains so that battlecopter. I don't really have to do with the anti-air at all. Now wipe up his infantry a good amount. Go in with the mech and then finish off with the battlecopter there. Start capping this comp tower, even though I'm not really expecting to get these capped. I'm at least trending them a little bit. And then I've got this tank covering the mech now. And 2 battlecopters and an anti-air to get rid of some of the dust infantry. So, looking pretty good on this side. And I basically got his They're here on block as well. So he attacked into the mech, but like I've got this deal with it. It doesn't matter at this point. He needs more anti-air in this area, but like he's been behind on income this entire game, so he's running out of stuff to be able to go. Oh, I built a Neo tank as well to deal with this Neo tank. And that's sort of what happens when you have this much of an income deficit for like 5-10 turns. It starts to add up. So he does get a good block rock off here though. I'm assuming he finished this off with the medium tank and was able to pivot around with the anti-air, which was, it's cute, but like it's not gonna save him here. And yeah, that's not, so it's just, funnily enough, we actually are about the same in unit count. He's actually ahead a little bit in unit count, but it's not gonna last too long. So I just wipe out everything in this area. Bam, bam, and this board. Honestly, I should have finished off this tank with that guy instead of suiciding into the anti-air. And now I'm zoning out of medium tank with my Neo tank as well. And because he doesn't have the income to like afford deal with the Neo tank, it's like, but he is able to do a decent push over here, but like, and then at this point it's just wrapping everything up and dealing with everything here. So we've got a second medium tank. You know, it's sort of try and deal with the Neo tank, but it's not going to be the best option, honestly. So I finish up those weakened units, pop my power, take out the tank there, take out the tank there, take out, well, almost take out the tank there, weaken the tank significantly there. And like at this point, I go for the tank, the much damage there to finish off the tank. Yeah, I don't get it, but whatever. Doesn't matter too much. So as you can see, I'm like significantly ahead in unit count and value. Like there's no way he's gonna be able to seriously go for it. So here's that too. Activity pops. Mock didn't even pop. But yeah, so yeah, that's it overall. Main mistakes that my opponent made. Let's go to start. So I opened with the recon, which was fine. And he goes both the tank to respond to it, which is also fine. You can either pivot around the mountain here or just head straight north of it in order to try and cut off the recon here, because it does have enough move that it's like it can't really be you can't really back it up with just a tank, building a tank right after it. Like you sort of can, but I think and you do get to zone out your opponent a little bit by sending this way. Because you have two bases here, you don't really want to send tanks from here up into here. So I think pivoting around like this is the correct move. It's just you should have built the tank here and then probably gone for maybe a recon here, because it would have done the exact same job as the tank is going to do over here. It's just going to be a little bit faster and it's going to be cheaper as well. And he would have been able to afford it this turn as well. As you can see, he's actually got an income lead for like a second here. It's just he's been able to keep a hold of it because I'm zoning out this area with the recon. Whereas he isn't doing the same in this area in response. The other thing is like he didn't chain tanks at all, so I'm able to bully him with just having tanks in the same area, and he's just got this guy by himself, this guy by himself, this guy by himself. Whereas I'm chaining him a little bit here, and he does start doing that after a little bit. It's just it would have been better for him to. And let's see, he went for the transport copter pretty early. And I don't think it weakened his for infinity of the areas to a point where it wasn't worth it. Because he did get like an extra 2 turns of calm tower from this counter, but I didn't get from this counter. The only issue is like with that is like I was able to grab this calm tower, and he wasn't able to grab this calm tower. So I think that by itself sort of it sort of got rid of the gains from making this play over here. But had he been able to grab this calm tower by positioning his tanks a little bit more, even if he would had like sent them a bit more abruptly here, that would be fine. Because I've got to send my tanks all the way around here, whereas he can just send them like there, and then they're already in there. So. His battlecopter was fine. His little move over here was fine as well. It was pretty clever with the block rock and everything. But like at that point, it had been too late. Like he should have focused a bit more on his capture game early on. He didn't back up this area at all very early on either. And when he saw this many tanks, like he should have saved up a little bit for medium tank to send over this way, rather than trying to ameliorate the damage with like battlecopter maybe, which with the battlecopter. The medium tank would have been pretty pivotal in this. Excuse me. Pretty pivotal in this area because it would have allowed him to deal with my tank spin a little bit easier. And then after you build the medium tank, you get like the battlecopter to build it back. But he sort of did it the opposite way around. The medium tank into the pipe game play was actually interesting. I think it was pretty good as well. It's just it was a little bit too late in order to affect this area. If he had built the medium tank like... Well actually, if he'd built the medium... Instead of getting this guy here, he had saved up for a medium tank here. He could have done that. Yeah, he could have done that. Oh, I think you sort of need the medium tank in order to... Let's see. So... Jake medium tank. Into... Yellow tank. Yeah, you sort of need the calm tower to guarantee you two-shotting this with the medium tank. But Jake can sort of do it from this lane style here, actually. If you have at least 10%, it's basically guaranteed that you can two-shot this. Well, actually, it's not guaranteed that you can two-shot this, but you can finish it off with, like, a tank shot or something. You can sort of do the same with, like... You can do the same with, if you're not playing Jake. You don't have a firepower. You can two-shot with a medium tank plus a tank shot. But if you have the calm tower, it lets you two-shot with just a medium tank, which he was able to do here. So that was all interesting. But that about wraps it up for today's match. Next one is definitely going to be this match on Strike Through versus it's a base light fog game, and it's against Sasha. So that'll be interesting to see, especially how to deal with Sasha with expensive powers like. So that'll be next episode. That'll be next week. I guess like, subscribe, and all that nonsense. And I will see you guys later. Bye.